Hey, here we are again. How's it all going, people? Yeah, I hope you all had a good week. Let me hit some lights here. It's a little dark. There we go. Isn't that better? That's pretty bright, actually. Right. So, what's new, team? Who have we got here? Tavo, good to have you here, mate. The Aussie contingent, the Kiwi contingent. David Tyree, welcome along. Barry Cooter, more Kiwis. And a lone American here, Chris Freemesser, even. I am Beagle Bob. How you doing, man? Chris Freemesser. So what's this I read about Savoy's only being 70% meat? What's the rest? Sawdust and tears. Probably mainly sawdust, I suspect, yeah. Tears of laughter, maybe, that people are buying it. You know, the people that are making it are laughing that people are actually going to buy this stuff. But it's not good for you, I don't think, but they taste good. So cheers, everyone. Now, Yo Kiwi, Jeff Hutchins. Hey, good to have you along, mate. Barry Cooter, carpet fluff and toenails. Oh, no, now you put me off, Savoys. Mike Oxlong, welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. Yeah. Right. So, who's been watching SVG, Shane Van Gisbergen, tearing up the NASCAR tracks? He's doing really well. Had a fifth place, his best ever place finish at the weekend. So he's getting the hang of these ovals, or his best place on the ovals. I should quantify that. He's won just about every road course that he's entered. But yeah, he's getting steadily better and better on the ovals. So look out, NASCAR fans. There's a Kiwi coming. Who else have we got here? Dan's Garage. Welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. Mexican Speak. Hey, man. How you doing? Paul Funk. Good evening, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button. Indeed, hit the like button. We got 20 of you in here at the moment. We've got 8 likes. So, hey. Beagle Bob. Haven't seen Wilkesboro yet. I did watch him in Atlanta. Okay. Yeah, I'm only just... To be honest, yeah, by the time I watch Formula One, that takes a chunk of the day because I'm a bit of a Formula One wrong side nut. Especially now, Audi's got a team that's not doing very well, but hey, it's their first year, so you got to cut them a little bit of slack. Yeah. What else is happening here? Brad Eastman, evening, everyone. It's a beautiful day here in windy Wellington. You got much wind going on, or just sunshine? Paul Funk, 103 there today. It's dry, 15% humidity. At least it's dry. And there is a difference between the dry heat and humid, because it's as humid as a mother trucker here at the moment. We were well into the 90s today, and by the afternoon, with all the heat radiating up from the blacktop all around the building and in the dark color of the building, it gets hot. It's hot. Barry Cooter, I knew he'd get used to the ovals. He'll probably end up being almost unbeatable on them. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a leveler, certainly for Shane. The ovals, it is a very different skill set. It's not really like a road course. It's a very different skill set, and I think you kind of got to throw away the rule book the mental rule book that he grew up with of how to race, how to drive a car fast, and kind of start over with the NASCARs, because they're just so different the way they do things, the way they're set up. Beagle Bob, took me a while to realize Atlanta was renamed to Echo Park. I didn't even know that myself, mate. So there you go. Jeff Hutchins, Mexican Speak, hot, too hot. Yeah, indeed. Brad Eastman, no wind, it's beautiful. Nice. Mexican speak, Jeff Hutchins. Join the club. I'm president. There you go. Chuck, Charles Dalton, 985. Good to have you here, mate. We finally cooled off a little bit last week. Was brutal with mid-90s and humidity to match. Yeah. Then the wildfire smoke hit and it was almost impossible to breathe outside. Oh, wow. That sucks. That sucks. Tavo finally warming up here now, 9 degrees Celsius. That's maybe 45 Fahrenheit, at a bit of a guess. Ball flies in the house. Welcome along, man. Clings to an Oreo cookie. Mate, if I had an Oreo cookie here right now, I'd probably be clinging to it as well. So I do like me an Oreo cookie. Yeah. David Torrey, 14 degrees there. And yeah, very nice. Chief Hutchins, Mexican speak, you need to veto the heat. Oh, if only it was that easy. Chris Freemesser, Bowlfly, did you brine the Oreo? Oh. Gluten-free Oreo. Really? You can get gluten-free Oreos? Good grief. Mexican speak, Bowlfly, I have gluten-free Oreos. They do taste like a real one. Oh, really? I've never tried the gluten-free. Huh. Chris Freeman, it's a cool 74 degrees here. It's going down to 64 tonight. Well, lucky you. You only have to have the air conditioning running all night long. So that's what kind of wears on me a bit in summertime is you're just constantly in air conditioning at the house anyway, not at the shop. But yeah, it's just all night long. The ACs are blasting. Beagle Bob, I would bet if he can win or get consistent top 5-10, he could have a shot at getting in better equipment like the one of the Hendricks cars. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I would say you're probably absolutely right there. I mean, they're just letting him. I imagine those top teams are acutely aware of him and his talent, and are just letting him serve as apprenticeship, which is really what he's doing. He's just going through not really going through the motions, but going through the rope. Learning the ropes, and he'll. He may not be he may never be as dominant on the ovals as he is on a road course. We have to kind of accept that that's a possibility because there's guys that are superb, local Americans that are superb, absolutely on the ovals, and have a team that to back them up. So he may never be as dominant, but I'll tell you what. If I had to choose one to be dominant at, and I'm a NASCAR fan, but if I had to choose road course or ovals, a road course is a complete driver. That's just the reality of it, in my opinion. Road courses, you have to be able to truly drive in the wet. Slow down for corners, turn left and right. Be able to throttle control off the corners, all that sort of stuff. You are a more complete driver as a road course as opposed to an oval. But that would upset a lot of hardcore NASCAR fans, but that's how I see it, Now, Kiwi, Barracuda Kiwi, did you ever go to the Thunderdome NASCAR track in Melbourne? I did in 1989. No, never went there, never got there. Is that still going? And didn't they go the opposite direction or something because of right-hand drive? I seem to remember that being a thing because, they don't want the drivers on the wall side of the car. Danny Boyd, my ma is an Oreo addict. There you go. Well, there's worse things to have an addiction to, I guess. As long as you don't end up giving yourself diabetes. Paul Funk, 103 is 39 degrees Celsius. Whoa. Yeah, you hit 40, that's hot. 39 is pretty close. Mexican spec, if you don't have to have gluten-free kiwi, it doesn't make sense to pay all the extra they cost. Oh, okay. Didn't even realise that. They actually cost more. I had no clue. But yeah, I guess a niche market, I guess they don't sell as many, and the people, if you do have a gluten intolerance, I guess you're prepared to pay a bit more to get your fix. So yeah, probably no more expensive. I don't know. I don't know whether they'd be any more expensive to make or not. I don't really know, but I mean, I guess they've got to design new packaging and labeling and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Driveway of Misfits, Barracuda, 2 races enter, 1 racer leaves. Not sure what you mean there, Chris. Jeff Hutchins, we've actually had a good summer in Western Oregon, only a few heat spikes. 2 days of mid-upper 90s, but now we're cooling off 10 to 20 degrees for the next 7 to 10 days. Nice. I wish I could say the same. Tavo, breakfast cereal down here, Wheat Bix, as the name suggests, whole wheat. They're now available and gluten-free. There you go. God, it's been years since I've had Wheat Bix. Years. Volfly, I'm still on the prowl for a gluten-free Oreo cookie pie crust. Oh, there you go. Pre-made. So Flybaby can have some kind of dessert pie. Flybaby. Banana cream pie sounds about right for summer. Can't do bananas. No. That's off my list of preferred edibles. Yeah. Oop, shut up the page again. I'm behind already. Look at that. Lineworks Genetics. Hey, sir, how is the revalence and fenders on your 67 Sunbeam? Might need them if they are in good shape. I sent you an email a couple of weeks ago, but never heard back. Oh, mate, I didn't see it. Sorry. How is the rear valence and the fenders on your 67 Sunbeam? My spare car. There's a trick answer. I hope they're better than the ones on my 61 because I may be cannibalizing it. That is an area that's rotted out, and depending what I do with it, how I rebuild that rear area and how I change it, because I want the exhaust tucked up under the bodywork. So I'm probably going to have to play around with that rear balance area to get the pipes up above the bodywork and like tucked up, almost not inside the trunk, but above the level of the original trunk floor. So not sure on that one. Hopefully I'll have an answer for you fairly soon. We're going to be getting down that part of the car soon. So I'll have to check my emails, mate. Maybe you went to the spam box or something like that, but I don't remember seeing that one. But so I wasn't ignoring you. I just didn't see it. Mexican Spectavo. How do they do gluten-free wheat? Danny Boyd, lemon meringue pie or key lime? Yep, lemon meringue pie. That's probably my favourite dessert. It's delicious. And then key lime's very similar actually, but lemon is obviously lemon and limes are limes, so there's a little difference. Chris Freeman, how's Steve doing? He's doing pretty good. Most of us know what funerals are like to go to. It was a funeral, and it was sad, and he got all the military honors type thing, because he was an ex-military man, and they did the 6-gun salute and all that stuff, which was pretty cool. Seems funny talking about a funeral as being cool, but that part of it really was. And then they had a bugler, doing the last, what do they call that song they do? The last something. You guys will tell me what it is. That tune they play for the fallen soldiers. So yeah. But yeah, so it was pretty good. And it's a closing kind of for Steve. So life's starting to move on again. But he was back at work today, so he seems in pretty good spirits. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, not to rub it into those with gluten intolerance, but gluten is tasty. There you go. Yeah, it's like when you're not allowed salt and everything will be salt free. That and then just stuff tastes like ass when you don't have salt in it. Chris Freeman said, "Damn it! Now I want some lemon meringue pie." So do I, mate. So do I. Volfly has been known to go on gluten raids. There you go. Tavo, they're actually made from a different grain, but marketed under the name to sell them. Oh, okay. Mexican Speck Volfly. Get the cookies and make one yourself. I should get Mrs. Speck to do that, but we don't have chocolate pudding here to make the pie. Danny Boyd, glutinous Maximus. There you go. Beagle Bob, I feel like they would run the other way for the same reasons toilets do. Yeah. Volfly, yeah, I know Mexican Speck. I just don't do desserts very well. I'm all about the meat. Mate, no, I love desserts. Yes. Tavo, I believe Ozcar ran anti-clockwise when it ran here. Yeah, well, they were all local built. I think it was like a Holden and Ford series, all in right-hand drive cars. So it made sense they had to go the other way, because you don't want to be putting your shoulder right by the door into the concrete wall at speed. Jeff Hutchins, just run the racetrack backwards, just like flushing the toilet going backwards. Cornholio effect or something. Cornholio effect. Okay. But yeah, it is. Yeah, pretty much just like the toilets, as you say. Volfly, Price Chopper sells the gluten-free Oreos for roughly the same price. Well, I might have to buy a packet of gluten-free ones like over the weekend, just to a bit of research for the channel, just to see if there is a difference. It's. I think that would be a worthwhile venture. Danny Boyd, I'm more about dessert ingredients. There you go. No, Jeff Hutchins, Beagle Bob beat you to it. Yeah, he did, mate. He did. Mexican Speck. Kiwi, the extra cost of making gluten-free food is they have to make it in a different kitchen than they make the gluten-full fruit. That costs a bit. Well, yeah, I guess it would. Well, it's that sort of sensitive, is it? They can't kind of just rinse out the vats, as it were, and then make a batch of gluten-free. Barracuda, it's been derelict for many years. The Oz cars went clockwise, NASCAR's the other way. Okay. The holes. Hey. Good to have you here, mate. I haven't seen you for a little while. Kiwi, keep up the good work with the channel. Random question. Have you... hang on. Shut up the page. Smurfenstein's here too. Very good. Look at that. Right. Have you ever tried Valvoline Restore and Protect? Supposed to remove sludge and carbon buildup, and it's supposed to work. Reviews are good. I have not tried it. Valvoline Restore and Protect. No, I wasn't even aware of it, let alone used it. So no, I don't know. I don't know. That would be. It's interesting what they have out there now for doing that kind of thing. But no, I can't help you with a good answer on that, I'm afraid. Or an informed answer, anyway. Jeff Hutchins, you definitely wouldn't want to run right and left-hand drive cars around the track at the same time if they have to run opposite ways. Probably entertaining. It'd be like the figure eight racing, wouldn't it? But worse. Wow. Yeah, no, that doesn't really. No, it doesn't bear thinking about too much, does it? Volfly edibles reminds me. I need to find the mushroom edibles my wife found for me once. It really sharpened my concentration. Not the pure magic mushrooms, but a nearby species. Oh, I know the stuff you mean. Yeah, Mrs. K has that stuff. It's a mushroom powder supposed to help your memory and stuff like that. But she forgets to take it. Not really. I made that up. She reckons it's pretty good. I tried it for a couple of weeks, and yeah, it didn't help me. I think I'm beyond help. So yeah, still forgetful. Barracuda. I remember being up against the fence watching them roar past. It was awesome. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Jeff Hutchins, the holes, restore and protect definitely works. There you go. Elaborate, Jeff. Why do you say it definitely works? Like, what was your experience? I'm interested to know. Limeworks Genetics. Cool. I'll keep in touch about the rebalance. The right side of it is quite rusted, and it's in one piece. I'm scared to try and recreate. A lot of compound curves. I get it. Which, that's not lost on me. And it's that's a tough piece to make. So that's that certainly when I stumbled across this one, the 67, it's like that might be useful for doing that, for cutting a little bit off those lower quarters and rebalance and sectioning some pieces in there. So I have to keep that in reserve till I can either say I'm not going to do that or sorry, but I have. Volfly, I can confirm Valvoline's restore and protects oil works. There you go. That's 2. There's your answer, I think, Holmes. Mexican spec, isn't it supposed to be a 21 gun salute? Well, there wasn't 21. There was 6 of them firing rifles. So, he didn't die. He just died of old age. Really, it wasn't like he was, died in combat. I don't know whether maybe that's a 21. I have heard the phrase 21 gun salute. So I don't know whether the 6th thing is. Tell you what, 6 rifles getting shot at the same time is loud. I can only imagine what it'd be like in a war zone. But yeah, 6 of them going off was sure loud. Beagle Bob, taps. What's taps, mate? Jeff Hutchins, Volfly mushrooms clears up a lot of queries. That's funny, Jeff. Yeah, that's funny. Taps, Beagle Bob, taps, I believe. Okay, not sure what you're referring to here, mate. Volfly, huh? You might have touched a nerve there. Smurfenstein, loving the sunbeam work. We once had a comma cob Hillman Husky and used to get the cushions from the rumpus room couch, pack our friends in the back and cruise Auckland City in the early 80s. Oh, good Lord. I remember those comma vans. Yeah, well, I mean, the former chassis from the Sunbeam was indeed a Hillman Husky one, but that was the little wee kind of very small car, little station wagon type of thing, but a bit taller than a typical station wagon. It was kind of like a cross between a station wagon and a van, but not big. The comma vans I remember were quite big vans, the ones I can recall anyway. Brad Eastman, last post. That's it. Yeah, David Torrey, last post. Yes, that's the word. That's the name I was looking for. Yep. Smurfenstein. Is it the last post or is that just New Zealand? No, that's what they call it. Volfly. I've never tried the magic mushrooms. Not sure if I want to spend a few hours in plastic world. No, I've never done the magic mushrooms. But no, they're quite psychedelic apparently. Chris Freemess, I want to say it's The Last Watch, but I could be wrong. Yeah, The Last Post rings more of a bell, but don't take my word for it. Barry Cooter, Peter Brock was in an XF Falcon right in front of me, burst a radiator hose and went into a huge slide. He saved it beautifully, of course. The man was a talent. The man was a talent. I was surprised to hear he was in a Ford, though. That's kind of interesting. He was such a GM Holden man forever. David Tyree, we had a Hillman Husky in the 60s. Oh, wow. There you go. Chris Freemasser, you and me both Kiwi. Big sweet tooth here. There you go. Barracuda, my brother had a comma cob. It was the colour. It's what, two different spellings of a Savoy. Bright red. There you go. Jeff Hutchins, I love meat and dessert. I'm not a meal separatist. Equal rights for all food groups. There you go. Hang on. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Now, we was like trying to catch up with. There we go. Chris Freeman said, don't forget your gluten-free lemon meringue pie research for the channel. There you go. Yeah, if I can't find a gluten-free one, I'll just have to bite the bullet and have a regular one. Yeah, it's a little tricky. Mrs. K doesn't really have a sweet tooth. She's not that big into desserts. So, yeah, it's... but that does mean if we buy a big lemon meringue pie, pretty much I get to eat all of it, so which is probably not that good an idea, but hey. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, cool to be on track with a legend. Indeed. Smoothenstein, David Tyra, we learned to remove rust and bog fill our old comma cob. Earlier, we packed all the holes with cardboard and newspaper. Later, we graduated to pot riveted steel. There you go, moving up in the world, becoming a true body man with the pot rivets. Todd Denier, hey, welcome in, mate. Good to have you here. Smoothenstein, David Tyra, I think we used 8 litres of filler in that van the first time. Oh, good Lord. 8 litres, that's like 2 gallons. Yeesh. Volfly, I suspect the Valvoline Restore and Protect has a smidge of naphtha in it. Okay, well, it's a good solvent. Right. So, Todd, did the wildfires... Chris Freemus is asking, did the wildfires reach you? Not yet. The wind shifted and is keeping it away from town. Well, that's good. LVG, welcome along. Good to have you here, man. Yeah. Barry Cooter, before my attention to racing, but definitely know who he is. Yeah. His heyday was a few years back now. It was probably the 80s, I guess. 70s, 80s was his heyday. Gosh, it's even quite a few years ago. Gosh, Barry, how long is it since he got killed over in Tasmania? That was quite a long time ago. Beagle Bob, and Memorial Day events and such, the 21-gun salute is done by 7 rifles firing 3 times. Maybe that's what they did, because they did fire 3 times. I wonder if there was... I was listening really and then counting how many guys there. I know there was at least 6, and maybe there was 7 there firing 3 times each. That could be what it was. Beagle Bob, Taps is the song. Taps? Okay. Todd Denier, yeah, saying the same thing. Yeah, 7 guns, fire 3 volleys. Maybe that's what it was. It's just not something they really do in New Zealand too much. And to be honest, the military in New Zealand is pretty small. It's a small country, and we're a long way from anywhere, and we're not, a military target kind of thing. We're not somewhere that people want to take over, because we're just down there at the bottom of the world. So the military is fairly small and does not have the kind of respect that the military here does. And I know there was been times when the military didn't always get a lot of respect here, but typically what I see is that, there's a lot of respect for the military here. Barracuda, bear in mind that there was the Aussie Peter Brock and the American Peter Brock associated with Shelby. That's right, I'd forgotten all about that. I do have a vague recollection of that. Yeah, you're right. Jeff Hutchins, they usually only have a few soldiers at funerals. I think they fire 3 times each. Obviously, 7 would be 21 shots. Seems like there's usually 4 to 6, but I'm not an expert by any means. Yeah, I think that's, it was something like that. I did think there were 6 guys there, but, that wasn't the, my entire focus, as you can imagine. David Tyree, Warzone. Didn't you live in Auckland? Wouldn't that be the same thing? I did live in Auckland, yes. Barracuda, having said that, the American Peter Brock didn't race. And there you go. And up the page we go again. Beagle Bob, small doses of the magic ones have been studied as antidepressants. Effectively, as far as I know, not enough of a dose to cause hallucinations or anything. Okay. Lineworks Genetics. He's finally something, but I'm not sure what. I think he might have hit send before he finished typing. Good night. Actually, it's funny. Like you made Chris Freeman. You did. How do you say that? Goodenheit. German. Clearly, I've just been watching that. Started watching that on Netflix. The Man in the High Castle, and that's a really interesting show. Complete fiction. Set in a world where Germany and Japan won World War II. And all the differences. I think it's pretty good. But yeah, it just made me think of it then with the German. So Firefly, yep, that's what the wife says, Beagle Bob. She has a master's in biology. Well, there you go. Barracuda Brock was in a Falcon because of falling out with Holden. Oh, okay. Smurfenstein, Tuesday Night Live with Kiwi is Wednesday morning. Yeah, mate. Sorry about that. Not much I can do about that. Tavo. Brock even ran a Ford Sierra at Bathurst around the area. You're right. He did too. I'd forgotten all about that. Yeah, he went well on it too. That's right. Yeah, no, Holden got the pip with him over that that little black box that he wanted to put in the car that aligned all the molecules and some sort of nonsense like that. He did go a little trippy there for a while, did Mr. Brock. A little bit of hoodoo voodoo in the cars, and Holden weren't having it. Todd deny magic mushrooms taste like shit. Okay, well, I'll have to take your word for it, mate. Firefly, most of her research was in fungi, but she ended up being very allergic, so it was a bust. Oh, damn. That's a shame. Charles Dalton, Todd and I are glad the fire stayed away. How are you doing overall? How's the marlin? Yeah, good question. How is the marlin coming on? Jeff Hutchins, I supply free polished 3006 shell castings to the military memorial services. They give them to the wife family. I know they're short on volunteers for funerals. They probably want 7 men, but I can't supply them. Huh. But can't always supply them. Oh wow. Huh. Yeah, that was I could be honest, that was pretty moving the way they did all that with the flag and saluting the immediate family and yeah, it was pretty moving. Now, Barracuda, Brock also had a go with a Lada, as I recall. Seriously? Josh Homan, why on earth would he race a Lada? Good way to end up last. Well, yeah. If it was April 1st, I'd say you were spinning as a tail there, Barracuda, but I suspect you're not. Wow. Jeff Hutchins, Todd, how do you know what shit tastes like? Good question. Todd denied Charles, the fire is still going, just a wind shift, 86,000 acres, according to a report a couple of hours ago. Wow. Barracuda, killed in 2006, yeah, 20 years ago. Isn't that wild? 20 years. Where'd that 20 years go, Barracuda? Like, seriously, 20 years. Boom. Smurfenstein, Brock's wet drive-on slicks at Bathurst is a thing of beauty I will always remember. Yes, masterful car control in the wet. Had to give him that. Him and Jimmy Richards were two wet weather masters. Charles Dalton, hope it stays away. 86,000 acres is a lot of area. Good Lord, yes. Volfly doing mushroom supplement shopping. There you go. End of time. Waited for a month for a new gas tank just to have it delivered full of dents. That sucks. Yeah. Mate, I'm waiting for my third Mustang hood to try and get one that's not damaged. So, yeah, I feel your pain. It's not been 3 months, though, or waited a month. But, yeah, this is going to take a month. That's, given that the third one is okay, it'll have taken a month. But, yeah. It might be longer if the third one turns up bent as well. Todd and I, Jeff, have you ever been to a farm, that when the smell is in the air, you can taste it? Yeah. Oh, the mushrooms, of course. Yeah. Oh, yeah, shit. Oh, God, a bit slow. Never mind. Carry on. Barracuda, an Aussie, Peter Brock, was killed in a car designed by American P. Brock, a Shelby Daytona replica. That's right, he was too. Yeah, you're right. It was a Shelby. Yeah, Daytona. Yeah, I remember that now. Stephen Bunky-Bird, how you doing, man? Yeah, good to have you here. Chris Freemus, A Man in the High Castle is really good. Saw it years ago. Oh, okay. Didn't realise it had been around a long time. I just started season 2, so don't give anything away. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Kind of a little thought-provoking what might have been, at least so far anyway, but it's going to be interesting to see how this different timelines things develop. They still really haven't gotten into that. So, yeah. Todd and I, Charles, I'm hoping so too. The Eli Blueberry Festival is cancelled for the third time in 40-plus years because of the fire. Oh, that sucks. Blueberry Festival, that'd be cool. I like blueberries. Jeff Hutchins, I think too often the military leadership sucks. Not always, but we shouldn't hold that against the soldiers. No, not too many people do anymore, but Vietnam vets got crapped on. Korean vets got forgotten. Yeah, that was a rough time, I think, to be in the military. And a lot of the people that were there didn't want to be there anyway. With the whole draft thing. I wonder how that would go over today. the risk of sounding a little political, a little maybe. Yeah, if they started drafting, I wonder if people would accept it today, being drafted, saying you're going to another country to fight in a war where there's a good chance you won't come home. I don't know. Not sure how it would go over today. Tavo, energy polarizer, that was it. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. You're not supposed to speak ill of the dead. I'm not speaking ill of him, but I just think he had a little moment there where he got caught up in something that, he got suck it in. I don't know. I really don't know the backstory to what possessed him to insist on those polarizers. Volfly. Then there is a story of the guarded flower, Jeff Hutchins. What's that about? What's the guarded flower? Smurfenstein, the energy polarizer was what Brock was pushing. Yeah. Yep. And it was just a crock of shit, really, wasn't it? I mean, there's been fuel ones that's supposed to do that. Things you put in your fuel line and like a filter, but it's a polarizer, and it supposedly makes all the molecules line up and burn better and all that kind of thing. And they have dyno tests to show how well it works. And $9.95 or $3 for $12.95. Like the TV ads that people get suckered into. Todd Denai, amazing how many people don't know that magic mushrooms are literally grown on patties of cow shit. Yuck. Yeah. You got to wonder what they taste like in that situation, do you? Bowfly should be able to grow them on bean paste or natural agar solution. Oh, there you go. Sounds better than cow poop. End of time. Garage 54 made me love the larder. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. Todd denied the Charles the Fire is expected to burn until it snows. Good grief, that's a while. Well, yeah, it must even be a couple of months till it snows up your way, doesn't it, Todd? Chris Freemason. If you kept up with the mushroom powder, you'd remember where those 20 years went. Is that so? Okay, I'll have to take your word for that one, mate. I'm not convinced. Barracuda. In the 70s, Brock's friends built an alien spacecraft and put it in his backyard. When he pulled the curtains in the morning, he thought it was for real. Seriously? Oh, good Lord. Good mates to pull a stunt like that on them. It's funny. Volfly. Looks like lion's mane mushroom extract is the thing for sharpness. That's what it is, lion's mane. Yeah, Mrs. K is like, she's having that every day. But yeah, it does seem to help her remember which chores I'm supposed to be doing. The honey-do list. But yeah, I'm not sure that's necessarily a good thing. But hey, yeah, she can't say much about what the to-do list at the moment with the hours I'm putting in on the Alpine. So I must admit, I get a pretty at the moment I'm getting fairly much a free pass on that sort of thing. Smurfenstein, my dad had 2 shells fired in New Zealand to commemorate Prince Charles's birthday. He turned them into vases, but gave them away to my uncle. I found a .303 bullet made in 1945 that he kept at the end of World War II. Oh, wow, that's very cool. Very cute. Tavo, I see that Two Hands movie is on YouTube. Two Hands movie. That seems to ring a bell. Why does that ring a bell? Barracuda. Brock believed in some things that most of us wouldn't. Yeah, he did. Jeff Hutchins, I remember the fuel line magnets to realign the molecules in the fuel and the air and intake tornado. That's another one of those things, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, they come up with all these numbers of how much more horsepower and more miles per gallon. I don't know where they pull that information from, but yeah, the hard sell on TV. The intake tornado. Yeah, remember that. Wildflower, the story of the guarded flower is about orders that are in place for reasons that are forgotten long ago, bureaucracy and tradition and real life fable. Oh, there you go. Okay. Huh. Todd Denai, Chris, the wildfire I'm talking about is 3.5 miles from where I live. Oh, that's close. Wow. Wow. That's extremely close. Good Lord. How close does it need to get before you get the heck out of Dodge? Wow. End of time. Garage 54 will be your next favourite show. It's that good. Interesting. So what's that playing on? Is that a Netflix thing or you piqued my interest now? Tavo, another one from the 80s was the ignition booster down here, a device plugged between the dizzy cap and the coil lead. It was just a canister with a gap for the spark to jump inside it. It did nothing. Yeah, and how many did they sell, I wonder? Yes. Barracuda, I've got 2 or 3 45 bullets that Dad brought back from World War II, but he was issued with a 38 Webley, so interesting. Todd and I believe in some things that most people, but that's because I've seen those things with my own eyes. Fair enough. I know what you're talking about, mate. Chris Freemus, a Barracuda, so he traded rounds with some Americans, probably, yeah. Jeff Hutchins, Garage 54 is good at proving things right or wrong, very entertaining regardless. I also like the Russian Off-Road Recovery channel. The translation is not really good, though. They are ingenious. Interesting. The Russian Off-Road Recovery channel. That's a whole channel? Wow. Todd Denai, guys on Garage 54 are crazy huskies, I think. Sounds a little bit like that Garage 54 sounds a little bit like Mythbusters. Is it that kind of thing? Barracuda, maybe he made some good American friends in the war. Well, yeah. Volfly, a new Tsar wondered why a guard was standing in the courtyard off to the side guarding nothing, apparently. He asked his generals why. They didn't know. Records were searched. Oh, End of Time. It's on YouTube. Okay. I have to go look for it. Russian Off-Road Recovery. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, those 45 ACP rounds are probably US property. Probably. Finders keepers. There you go. Chris Freeman, Garage 54 is cool. They make all sorts of crazy car shit. The pneumatic power window episode was hysterical. Pneumatic power window. Okay. Now you've kind of piqued my curiosity now. Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for all sorts of mayhem, doesn't it? Hey, look at this, guys. I've caught up with the comments. Are you impressed? I am. Oh, some more come through. Chris Freeman, the windows go up and down in less than a second. I'll bet they do. Beagle Bob, I think I might try and make a hand crank winch, which will take some more figuring out, but I imagine the flex plate and starter from a V6 Essex I have might be useful. Maybe the crank too. A hand crank winch. There you go. Interesting. You're always doing something a little outside the box, aren't you, Beagle? Todd Denai, Garage 54 guys are crazy, determined, and don't let anything stop them from their goals, just like a husky. There you go. I get it. Smoothenstein, there was also the stainless steel fitting that was attached to the exhaust tailpipe. It was supposed to reduce exhaust pressure and save fuel. Really? I don't remember that one. Volfly. What the new Tsar found out was that the Tsar's daughter commanded a guard to protect the first flower of spring. The command was never repealed. 80 years later, the order became tradition. Huh, it's kind of cool. So is that like an urban myth, or not? Maybe not urban, but is that like a legend, or does that really happen? That's kind of cool. Well, it's kind of good that it's become a tradition. Like, why not? Jeff Hutchins' mini semi trucks had pneumatic windows. Really? Very cool. I wonder if they still fire. Well, yeah. Don't know that you'd want to try and find out, really. Jeff Hutchins, Mercedes had hydraulic windows. Yes, they did. Cadillacs had hydraulic windows too. A few American cars had hydraulic windows. The problem with them was that if they developed a leak, all the windows would go down, all of them, which people weren't that plussed about, especially if it was raining. Tavo, the kid's aunt traded rounds with Taliban in Afghanistan. So much for the women not being front line, but she was in logistics and they got ambushed. Oh, wow. Wow. That'd be a little scary. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, guarantee they will fire. Okay. Jeez, me. Todd denied winches used to be hand cranked. They used to be, yeah. The garden flower was no longer in place to be protected, but they followed the order still. Yeah. Barracuda, I'll never find out. No, you wouldn't really want to fire them, would you? Like, yeah. The memory is in the complete bullet, isn't it? Tavo, I remember that exhaust extractor, like a funnel attached to the end, supposed to grab passing air and draw the exhaust out. Yeah. Yep. Volfly, the story is Russian in origin, but some claim Chinese origin. Oh, there you go. So I don't know, GM cars with power windows until the mid-50s had hydraulic power windows, yeah. Yeah, I knew the Caddies had it. I wasn't sure about the other brands, other GM brands. Volfly, I'm no history expert, but it sounds like a Russian story. Well, the Tsar certainly makes it seem that way, doesn't it? Barracuda, the one time their women get to walk in front of them in a suspected minefield. Oh, that's pretty low. Damn. Yeah. That's not good. Jeff Hutchins, there's a real record for the fastest electric power window. First generation Dodge Rams hold it. They are fast. Really? Was that by design, or they just happened to make a super fast window? David Tyree, the story of the guarded flower is from the TV series Babylon 5. Sci-fi. Really? Huh. So that's where it originated, or they just picked up on the story and incorporated it into Babylon 5. Beaglebob, Tavo, outside in a few instances, there were really no front lines in Afghanistan. Women would be part of female engagement teams to try and reduce cultural tensions when searching people at checkpoints. Huh. Okay. Volfly, it was mentioned, David Tyree, but not original. There you go. The LVG, I had a 48 Buick with a hydraulic seat, windows, and top. The worst problem was they used brake fluid and a leak would cause rust. Huh. Interesting. I had a 49 Buick once, man. Actually imported it to New Zealand. And was going to restore it, and then I got a green card to come to the States. So Sold it, and I don't know whatever happened to it after that. But it was like the Rain Man Buick 49 convertible Roadmaster. It was very rusty, but very cool. Firefly, still a great story. Babylon 5 was a great series. Yeah, I've never watched it. It's the sort of thing I do watch, though. Richard Stanberry. Kiwi, does my 66 Barracuda need or use any rare earths? Rare earths? Okay, you might have to elaborate a little bit more on that. Not sure quite what you mean by rare earths. Danny Boyd, most convertible tops are hydraulic. Yeah. The ones that are power are usually hydraulic, yes. But the modern ones use like a hydraulic fluid, not brake fluid. Todd and I, LVG, yeah, they were a bad idea. Yeah, indeed. Eagle Bob, I've noticed the front windows on my 99 Power Stroke are faster than any of my newer cars. Interesting. Granddad's Junk, how you doing, man? What do we got here? G'day, Kiwi brother. How's Yankee Land going? Yankee Land's going just fine. Yeah, it's always it's always a new day. Turning on the news to see what our esteemed leader has gotten up to. He's making a dick of himself with the football, the Soccer World Cup, Football World Cup. But yeah, never a dull moment. Danny Boyd, Rain Man Buicks were built in my hometown by one of my neighbours. Oh, really? Huh. Richard Stanbury, the modern cars use rare earth magnets and things like. Oh, I see. I wondered whether you meant. I was wondering whether you meant. That's why I asked you to clarify rare earth magnets, or like. I wasn't sure whether you're meaning like some sort of ground, because we call ground straps earth straps. I wasn't quite sure where you were going with that one. But no rare earth magnets in a 66 Barracuda. Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so. Firefly, be right back. Barracuda, Kiwi's not in Yankee Land. He's in the south. What are you talking about? Not this Kiwi. Not in Yankee Land. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Took a moment. Yeah, okay. True, yes. Yeah, I used to think Yankees were like it was a slang term for all Americans, but no, it's not. It's different. You don't want to call a Southerner a Yankee. They get very upset about that. Well, not all of them, but a lot of them do. I never wasn't quite aware of that in my very younger days. The LVG, the 48 was a Roadmaster convertible as well. More sheet metal in the door than an entire new car. Yes, they were big and heavy, weren't they? Jeff Hutchins, I think the power window speed is just a product of good design. I think it was Greg Whale, automotive journalist, who set out to find anything faster. There wasn't anything close. Isn't that crazy? Chris Freeman, yes, the old LeBaron gets a new valve cover gasket this weekend. Then she's good to get the needed state inspection. There you go. Just one valve cover gasket. What engine's in the LeBaron? I was thinking it'd be a V6. Danny Boyd, Rod Hillen, he built them in the former AMC and before that Studebaker dealership in Dayton, Ohio. Oh, wow. Huh. Interesting stuff. Todd deny. Hydraulic power windows were silent, which was good until they started to leak. Yeah. My understanding is that they go down by spring. Basically, they're pulled down, You release the hydraulic pressure and the spring pulls the window down, and the hydraulic part of it ram. It's not a two-way ram, like a convertible top is. And then, so consequently, whenever there was a leak, that spring would pull the windows down, like all of them. So I was told. Not that I've ever actually worked on a hydraulic window. Danny Boy, Yankee Land, north of the Hawaii, north of the Ohio River. Yankee is a term referring to people who live in New England. Ah, okay. Jeff Hutchins, my mum's family's from Oklahoma. She says, I was 20 years old before I knew damn and Yankee was two words. Oh, that's funny. Chris Freemesser, the LeBaron features Chrysler's massive 99 horsepower 2.2 naturally aspirated engine. Wow. A rocket ship. Probably a little gas sipper though, isn't it? Or did they not quite get that part of it down? Smurfenstein. Sometimes I still think the US is fighting a civil war. We still call Americans Yanks, so I'm not surprised there is confusion. Yeah. Yep. They were. I remember, during the wartime, like all the English referred to the Americans as Yanks. And then, of course, the big American cars got nicknamed Yank tanks. That was a thing. But Yanks is really short for Yankees, and Yankees are definitely not all Americans. Beagle Bob, Granddad's Jane, got some tobacco drying as the leaves yellow. Soon it will be ready to smoke. Yeah, really? I do remember you saying something about growing your own tobacco. Wow. Granddad's Jane, good southern folk. Yep. Todd Deny, updates coming in about the wildfires. There's still 17 of them going. Wow. Barracuda, bluebellies. What was that a slang for? Bluebellies. Was that? I'm trying to think who that was a little slang name for. LBG, you are correct. Single action cylinder with a large spring to retract. The pump had a motor on it the size of a starter motor. Wow, really? Granddad's Chung. Very nice beagle. Do you sell it? Are you referring to tobacco or devil lettuce? Devil lettuce. That's a good one. I haven't heard that expression before, but I know what you mean, or I'm guessing you know what you mean. Devil lettuce. That's funny. Chris Freeman is a barracuda. Don't be trying to reignite our civil war. No. Todd Deny, because of where I live, I am in a Minnesnotan. Beagle Bob, actual tobacco. Just growing it for myself. Yeah. Volfly, tobacco is a nasty crop. I have no idea. Why is it nasty, Volfly? Danny Boyd, left-handed tobacco? Left-handed tobacco? What are you talking about? Look at this. Caught up. Right, you guys have to start typing faster. Jeff Hutchins, Chris Freeman, put in a fuel line magnet or an intake tornado, and you could bump that 99 horsepower up to an even 100. Only if he puts both in there. I think he'd need a tornado, a magnet, and a polarizer. And he might make it to 100. You'd think Chrysler would have done something to make it like triple digits, wouldn't you? Like, why would you make a production engine that made 99 horsepower? Couldn't they have found some way to like juice another 1 horsepower out of it? Just so they could, 100 just looks a lot bigger than 99, doesn't it? Granny's right. Tobacco was originally used to control pests on crops. Good Lord. Did not know that. Todd and Chris, they did a great video about hydraulic power windows on an early 50s Oldsmobile on Cold War motors about a year ago. Okay. I should be able to find that. Volfly, handling tobacco without gloves will eat up your hands. Really? Huh. I had no idea. Jenny boy, don't forget the Slick 50. What was that? I know the name Slick 50. What was it? Some sort of oil additive. I can't remember. I know the name. I remember clearly, but I can't quite remember the product. Jeff Dean, what's your favourite movie car from any film, including American Graffiti, Bullet, Two-Lane Backtop, Vanishing Point, Mad Max, Christine, plus anything else you can think of? I would have to say Christine, honestly. Yeah, I'd have to say Christine, and then any of the cars in American Graffiti. That had a lot of cool cars in it, like even just in the background, just passing shots, just cars that were circulating in the background. Like whenever I watch that movie, I always kind of look for what other cars are lurking around there. I remember there was one point there were some girls in an Edsel, just stuff like that. They had the right cars for the era, for a low budget movie. But yeah, Christine. And I read the book Christine. The book's fantastic, better than the movie, and the movie was really good. So the fact, like often movies are a poor copy. That was a very good movie, and it was just an even better book. There's just more detail in it, But yeah, there's so many good cars there. Bullet, the Bullet Mustang is like meh. Vanishing Point, the Challenger was pretty cool. Mad Max, and of course the Falcon coupes. But no, I'd have to say Christine. Barracuda, a civil war is a polite war. Really? Hadn't heard that description before. There's been some pretty brutal civil wars from what I could gather. Beagle Bob, I don't think he says while sipping it, I don't think you've been taking enough bourbon break. Yeah, you could be right. I'm not even to half a glass yet, and we're at 8:08. No, going a bit slow tonight. That's all right. Volfly, tobacco's pretty rough on gloves too. So what's in the tobacco that's rough on your hands and gloves? Jeff Hutchins, Slick 50 would take it to 105. What was it? Someone's going to tell me in a minute. Volfly, LOL, Slick 50. Obviously, that's a fairly worldwide thing, Slick 50. I thought that was a Kiwi, just some Kiwi concoction. The 2.2 engine had several different horsepower ratings depending on which car they were put in. The later turbocharged 2.2 were like 175 horse, as they should have been with a turbo on them. Yeah, that would have been quite. So 2.2 litre. So was that any relation to the 2 litre and 2.3 litre engines that they put in, like the Mitsubishi Conquest? Was that a Mitsubishi derived motor, or was it a Chrysler American motor? David Tyree, funny thing is a lot of the tobacco farmers here in New Zealand didn't smoke. Dad used to give them shit for not supporting their own industry. More power to them, No, there's I'd grow it if people were paying me enough, but I certainly wouldn't smoke it. Danny Boyd, it was an oil additive. I thought it was, and they claimed more horsepower with it. Wow. Who mentioned Slick 50 to start with? Everybody knows it, don't they? Dang, Slick 50. Yeah. It's not been around for a while, has it? Todd Denier, tobacco was originally used by natives for many things. It was referred to as Earth Mother's hair. Wow. Didn't know that. That's like when you say native, like American Indians. If that's the politically incorrect term to use. Barracuda, Jeff Dean, have you seen The Last American Hero? It's a good one. Yeah, I remember that series. End of time. Delivery guy just dropped off an early original made in California Cal Custom barefoot gas pedal. There you go. I actually had one of those. I gave it to Steve to put in his 54. I'm not sure. I never look to see whether it was a made in China one or whether it was an original California one. I don't know. Yeah, here we go. Danny Boyd. I remember hearing a mechanic tell me they slick 50'd some engine and they end up having to turn down the idle a little. Huh. Probably developed an air leak. Chris Freemus is so SD tonight. Good question. Beagle Bob, I'm not handling enough to bother me. It's covered in a fine, hairy fuzz. Okay. You can absorb enough nicotine through handling to make you feel sick. Wow. Have to be doing it as a full-time job, though. Oh, really? Wow. Huh. David Torrey, handling tobacco will not eat up your hands. There you go. Firefly, well, there was the movie The Car, horror movie The Car. Don't remember that one. Tavo, I recall a test on Slick 50 Down Under. Apparently they added it to a car, ran it for a while, then drained the oil and drove it from Sydney to Melbourne. Really? Wow. That's a long way. I've driven that. That's a long way. That sounds hard to believe. Barracuda, the coolest was Falfa's 55 Chevy, in my opinion. That's a good argument, that's a very valid choice. Absolutely. I just have a thing for late 50s Plymouth. Yeah. So what you gonna do? Todd Deno, end of time. I have a couple of those old 60s barefoot gas pedals. Yeah, that was the thing, wasn't it? Danny Boyd, McQueen's Brewster Green 7073 Trans Am. Okay. Danny Boyd, going to take a day off from the booze today. There you go. Dry Tuesday. Yeah. Probably good for you every now and again. Actually, I'm like a Friday, Saturday drinker and Tuesday night. So I'm 3 days a week, pretty much max. Josh Homan, in real life, the bad guy's Charger would have left the Bullet Mustang in the dust as if it was standing still. That was definitely a quicker car than the 390, and the Mustang 390 was not a handling car. It didn't. That chassis didn't convert well to the weight of the big. Didn't cope with the weight of the big block particularly well. Yeah. And the FE, I mean, you can do some stuff with the FE to make them percolate quite nicely, but just a regular 390 was not startling. Not for its size and weight. Jeff Hutchins, my favourite movie car was Nash Bridges' 71 Hemi Cuda convertible 4-speed. Unfortunately, the real cars were all small blocks and 383s. They had one 440 Hero car. Some had 360, 380 horsepower Mopar crate engines. Paul Funk, Cisco, Utah is 42 miles from here. It's where the beginning and ending of Vanishing Point was filmed. Oh, wow. Cisco. I've heard of Cisco, Utah. Well, I've heard of Cisco. I didn't realise it was in Utah, to be fair. Jeff Hutchins, engines for aggressive driving scenes. The 440 was for sound. There you go. Gunner Y1Y, Slick 50 Teflon coating. I think engine rebuild in a can. Yeah, what do they else? They call it can of rings and bearings. Jenny Boy, Josh Homan, but if Bullet bothered to bolt on mag wheels, then maybe he'd also bothered with a cam intake and headers. There you go. Todd Deny, the 2.2 they put in the 84 Turismo for export to Europe was way more powerful than the American version. Here we go. Chris Freemus, the 2.2 was a Chrysler designed engine introduced in 82 or so. They put them in everything back in the 80s. Yeah, well, four bangers were, they were popular, weren't they? Like the gas issues were happening. The prices were going, in shortages and. Jeff Hutchins, supposedly they had to slow the Charger drivers down for parts of the chase scenes in Bullet. Yeah, I've heard that from several times. Yep. Tabo, my ute has the barefoot loud pedal. Just a modern knockoff though. Very cool. LVG, question for the crew. I have a slight off-idle bog on a 60 T-Bird. It's running the Ford 4100 car. Accelerator pump set to spec and it is working. Timing and point gap set. Happens when hot. 4100. That. Try to remember that. That has the adjustable accelerator pump, like the three, if I remember rightly, the three different spots you can put the pump on to make it a little more aggressive or a little slower. It could be getting too much accelerator pump because that will cause a bog as well. People tend to assume that it's a lack of accelerator pump squirt that causes a bog, but too much. And obviously when it's hot, they don't need quite as much fuel. I would play around, like just move it, from one extreme, from small squirt to big squirt, whichever end, just choose one, go there and see if it makes it worse or better. And I'd play around with that a little bit. Also see if taking the air cleaner off briefly makes a difference to it, if it aggravates it, or because with the air cleaner off, it'll get a little more air. So if it makes it worse, that could point to being a little on the lean side, because giving it more air makes it worse. That would make you think, or if it takes it away, then maybe it's squirting a little too hard. They can be a bear to trace down. They really can. A little bit of ignition timing can be a factor as well. Just a couple of degrees one way or the other. It's going to be one of those, probably a little bit of a trial and error thing. Gunner Y1Y. Slick 50 was supposed to coat the cylinder walls with Teflon. I believe it did, but then started to flake off. Another wonder of modern science. Yeah, they used to do all those coatings too, didn't they? That you get your pistons coated and the various things coated to stop heat and all that sort of thing. And yeah, that kind of went away. Barracuda. Some say American cars can't turn corners. They should look at the Bullet downhill chase. The Charger carved through a sharp left turn amazingly well, even on pizza cutters. Yeah, I mean, it's all relative. I mean, typically, and I love American cars, I really do, but typically they weren't, their strong point was not cornering. You could, there was cars out there, smaller, more nimble European cars that were definitely handled better than some of the American stuff. And the Charger was wide and not too tall like some of the earlier American stuff. So I think they were getting better, but a small, like a BMW or something like that is going to get around that same corner on that downhill chase a lot quicker than the Charger. But no, they didn't do too bad. But they really, they just have to look at the roads in America and then go to Europe and look at the roads there. Well, of course, they require two different cars. And that's what they got, American manufacturers made their cars for the American market. They didn't make them for Europe. Some were exported, but exporting cars was a very small thing for America. They had a big enough market here in their own backyard. They didn't need to export cars overseas. So they made them to suit their market, which was clever, So, yeah, just horses for courses, Josh Homan, yes, but Teflon burns in the kinds of temperatures present in engines. Yeah, that 650 was basically a crock. It was snake oil. I think it could have helped in a few little tiny ways, but yeah, it was not. It was not this miracle oil. Todd denied nicotine is extremely toxic poison. Several of the darts animal control shoots animals with to kill them are injecting nicotine. Really? Wow. Did not know that. Chief Hutchins, Volfly, can't remember what the car was. The car was based on Lincoln, but it was mostly custom bodywork. Okay. Oh, I think I might know what that movie. Yeah, it was a big Lincoln Continental, wasn't it? Big black, like 4-door thing. Suicide door type. Or was it a 2-door one of those? Yeah, I think I know the movie, actually. I never watched all of it. I've seen bits of it. Firefly, I don't think one-time handling will kill your hands, but nicotine is a toxic mistress. Ah, yes. Firefly, yeah, custom Lincoln modified. Todd denied. Danny Boyd, I will see if I can find one next time I'm in my storage area. There you go. Barracuda, last American hero is Jeff Bridges' moonshine running and racing film. Yep. Not to be confused with the greatest American hero. It's a very different TV show. David Torrey, I grew up in a tobacco growing area, Motueka, and it was handled from planting, picking, drying, sorting, etc., and nobody had any problems from it. Interesting. Todd Denier, the customized Lincoln and Animal House. Gosh, I don't even remember. I remember the movie, but I don't remember the Lincoln. Huh. Ezra, welcome along. Running on Empty, 1982 is a good Oscar movie. One of the nicest 57 Chevrolets I've seen. There you go. Huh. Danny Boyd, Todd Denier, RIP my friend Bob Risco. Back when I was growing up, he had a 70 F250 Sport Crown Custom Camper Special. It's a mouthful, isn't it? With every Cougar from JC Whitney tacked on it. But it was missing the pedal. Oh, good Lord. Oh. Danny Boyd, I always thought it had been a barefoot and that the guy he bought it from had kept it. Okay. Firefly, surely there had to be some cumulative effect from handling tobacco, say 10 acres worth. I would have thought so. Barracuda, I think Denny Holm grew up on a tobacco farm in Motueka. Barracuda, were you watching Bathurst the year that Denny died behind the wheel? That was, pretty tragic. Yeah, Jeff Hutchins, everybody probably knows now the car total at the end of Vanishing Point was a first-gen Camaro. Yeah. Yeah, that's been fairly widely reported. That, hey, they're making movies, not car documentaries. The majority of people probably didn't pick it up. I'm trying to find where I was up to. There we go. Firefly, people have told me stories of working on tobacco farms and how rough it was on you. Mate, I don't know. End of Time, the 7-Ups chase was great. Don't know that one. End of Time, Pontiac Ventura. Huh. Firefly, maybe they embellish their stories. Can quite possibly hit some people harder than others too. Danny Boyd, I'll bet the tobacco was real nice when you had a cut on your hands. Ooh. Beagle Bob, I've heard it's children and people who don't use tobacco who get sick from handling it. Well, that'd be me then. Childlike mentality and never use tobacco, so I'd be a hopeless case. Ezra, Midnight Spears 1983 is pretty good. There's so many car movies out there that you just certainly haven't seen. Half of them, I don't think. Jeff Hutchins, Lower Man, fuel vaporizing. We thought it would give a little more issue than just a slight stumble off idle. But not impossible by any means. You just got to, work through some options. Todd Denier, there's enough nicotine in one can of snuff to kill at least 2 large bears. Bears don't like nicotine, I guess. That seems one man can work through a can of snuff and it's going to kill 2 bears. That doesn't seem to, the math doesn't seem, I'm missing part of the equation there, I suspect. Barracuda, not sure, but I think they used a small block Mustang for the downhill jumps and bullet. That would make sense. Would have been easier on the chassis, on the body with a small block in it. Danny Boyd, sometimes it's the distributor causing the bog. Yep. So I'm saying play around with advance and retard a little bit and see if it what sort of impact it has. A couple of degrees forward and or back. Gosh. This heat's catching up with me. Drains you by the end of the day, man. Sweating your butt off in the workshop. Firefly, so I should fill a mace can with snuff. Sounds pricey. I wonder if it's because it's injected with a dart that it kills the bears. What do they call that? Intravenous. Like maybe that's becomes a problem for the bear. A bit Toddle will expound on that a little. LVG, yes, it has multiple holes for adjustment. Great idea about taking the air cleaner off. Yeah, just for a test session, see what it does. And if it does nothing, then it might be a little more electrical. Danny Boyd, Waylon Jennings had a stuffed bear who had come upon a crashed drug plane and OD'd on the cocaine cargo. Oh, wow. Danny Boyd, snuff is evil. Yeah. So snuff the same as chewing tobacco, or is that different? That's one thing I can't stand is people chewing tobacco. I think that's just terrible. It's quite vile. Todd and I have offload. You just want to scare bears off, not kill them. Barracuda, Vanishing Point was the first movie I ever saw on a colour TV in a motel in 1975. Wow. Showing your age, mate. Wildfly, I wonder if it would work if I could take one of those badly engineered new engines and nitride all the moving parts. Just might make them live a long and normal life. I don't know. Barracuda, I was a VC recipient myself. Wow. That's awesome. Well done. Wow. That's awesome, bud. Congratulations. Wildfly, saw too many Killer Grizzly movies in my youth. Danny Boyd, anyone remember a movie where the villain drove a 69 or 70 Boss 302 or Mach 1 and he used an electric voice box held to his neck to talk? No. Oh, Barracuda, a VC Valiant. That's cheating. Jeez, it was me being nice to you. Todd and I, American cars may not have cornered well, but they made up for it in the straightaway. Oh, absolutely. Watch the Ford Galaxy at the Goodwood races. I think it's in England. Goodwood is in England, yeah. That's on my bucket list. I desperately want to go to the Goodwood Festival of Speed. I'm going to go. That's definitely very high on my bucket list of things to do. I always love watching the footage from there. It's just a great event, fantastic event. It's they're seeing the big American tanks just lurching and sliding around, but man, they haul us down the straightaway. So, yeah. And I certainly don't. I'm as big a lover as American cars as pretty much anyone you meet. But I'm also honest about their limitations. But little nimble cars have limitations as well. They can't. No one thing, not just cars, but no one thing is the best at everything. So, Yeah, a lot of those 50s and 60s European cars, 50 mile an hour, they were out of steam. 60 mile an hour, that was it. You couldn't overtake anyone. Like you were wringing its neck at 60, 70 maybe, but there was nothing left to overtake. You get a 427 Galaxy and you stomp on it at 70 and you're off. Like you're accelerating. So yeah. No, those big American cars in that Goodwood are it's great viewing. Danny Boyd, Grizzly Man was enough to tell me I don't want to run across any bears. No, I'm with you, man. Paul Funk, my old Snap-on dealer restored a 70 GTX 440 4-speed manual, drum brakes, manual steering, and 14-inch wheels. He was also a huge numbers matching snob, typical stuck-up Mopar guy. The Mopar guys are a breed of their own, that just makes me smile. It doesn't bother me, but it does make me smile. They are a breed of their own. They will pay through the nose for NOS parts, and as you say, a lot of them are numbers matching snobs. Yeah. Barracuda, they cornered pretty good too, Todd. Yeah. Yeah. Todd Janelle, Danny Boyd, yes, that beer was the basis for cocaine beer, but the real beer died almost instantly. Oh, wow. Danny Boyd, there was also a car racing movie with Fonzie. Really? The feature car was a 73 Camaro. Never seen that one either. Huh. With Henry Winkler in it. Wow. Buddy Caro. Smokey and the Bandit Trans Am was my movie car pick. Pretty cool. Had the cutest co-star too. Yeah, I think she would have to take the cutest co-star. Jeff Hutchins, Paul Fung. Only a Snap-on dealer can afford a numbers matching GDX. Some truth to that, brother. Some truth to that. Todd Denier, Chris, the customised Lincoln in Animal House was the black turret car coming out of the smoke in the parade. Okay, I have a vague recollection of that. Yeah. Never really thought about it at the time. Huh. David Torrey, talking of car movies, how about Two Lane Blacktop? That's a good movie too. Yep. There you go. Come on. Here we go. Danny Boyd, the Trans Am and Thunderbolt and Lightfoot. That's going to be my favourite tonight. Oh, fair enough. Barracuda, American cars cornered very well in the Trans Am racing series. Camaros, Cudas, Mustangs, etc. They left the Porsches behind. Yep, that sounds about right. But when they were tweaked to the right extent for circuit racing, they did well. And the earlier Porsches from that era were not fantastic at handling. The new stuff is a huge improvement, but those early 60s or mid 60s Porsches were not. They're not the greatest. They kind of handled pretty good, but they got a bit evil on the limit. They got quite evil on the limit, when you were really hammering them hard. But they made a lot of improvements. Porsche's now handled pretty darn good. Tavo, like the Dodge Challenger destroyed at the end of running on empty was a VJ Valiant sedan. Oh, really? Did not know that. Smurf and C. David Tyree, Two Lane Blacktop and Vanishing Point are my favourite road movies. Fair enough. Todd Denine, Vanishing Point, the crash scene didn't go as planned. The car was supposed to flip all the way over the bulldozers and land on its roof on the road behind them and explode. Instead, it got hung up. But Hikaru, won't mind owning a Tucker. Oh, no, I'm sure. Todd Denine, Chris, a man using snuff is not going to ingest the entire can at once. Well, no. No, I mean, not to sound like I was disbelieving of what you were saying, but just there was some part of the equation I was missing. But you make a good point. Yeah, I mean, but I just don't know anything about the product either, too. But yeah, obviously it doesn't agree with beers. Barracuda, I also saw my first dead body that day in Christchurch. It was quite a day. Wow. Somebody's funeral, I guess. Chris Freemason. Tell your penny pinching boss to install AC in the shop. Mate, if I had a decent landlord, I would install AC. I would. But when your landlord has you on a month-to-month lease, because that's the way he likes to play the game, and I mean, I've been there 12 years, but I'm not putting money in when I could be out of my year with 30 days notice. So, yeah. Andy Nickel, hey, welcome along, bud. Good to have you here. You haven't got a lot of time left, but you've got 20 minutes, so it's all good. Danny Boyd, snuff is a finer, more powdery chewing tobacco. There is something like Levi, whereas something like Levi Garrett is actual leaves. Okay. What is Levi Garrett? Jeff Hutchins, dang, I thought Cocaine Bear was a documentary. No. Oh, Barracuda. Yes, I was watching that race when Holm died on TV. Yeah. Yep, I remember that day well. Yeah, that was very shocking was the right word. I don't know. It was, sad, really, I guess. Beagle Bob, I think snuff is the dry tobacco powder that people snort. I think it's SNUS. That must be a typo. I think it's a wet powder stuff or European term for dip. Dip is a wet chopped up tobacco that sits in your lip, chew as larger leaf pieces. Ugh. Sounds terrible. Snuff was snorted up the nose. You see it a lot in old cowboy movies, right? Yeah, they didn't use a lot, did they? And it seemed to give them a hit. It was almost like watching someone on the movies like take a hit of cocaine and kind of make them pull their head back and like, whoa. Danny Boy, raccoons are related to bears. Well, thank you for that little bit of information we've all been kind of hanging out for. Yeah, they probably don't like snuff either. Beagle Bob Chewers actually chewing on. Well, that makes sense. Todd and I, Chris, snuff is ground much finer than chewing tobacco. Also, 99% of snuff users don't do it as originally used. It wasn't putting a pinch in the lip. It was a small pinch that was snorted up the nose. Yeah. Yeah, whatever floats your boat, I suppose. Just none of it appeals in any way. But I've never smoked, never used any tobacco in any capacity, like ever. So I'm for my age, I'm a little odd, really, in that respect. Well, probably many other respects too, but it's a whole other story. Danny boy, there's a spot on your hand below your thumb on the back of your hand. Okay. Called the snuff box. There you go. Todd and I, snorting stuff burns bad enough to make a tough guy man mountain like Mike. Men cry for his mummy. Oh. So why do they do it? End of Time. Driver is a great movie showing how a big car can move. Oh, yeah. Jeff Hutchins. Anyone see the old Top Gear where Jeremy ran some European sports cars around a road track and the secret American ran a Hellcat Challenger? Jeremy barely beat him. A little bit of a horsepower discrepancy there on a Hellcat. But, yeah. American cars have come a long way too. I mean, that reputation for not being good on cornering was kind of a 50s thing, really. And let's be honest, 57 big old Ford Custom 300 or whatever, like they did not handle well. 57 Chevy did not handle well. They're comfortable, but yeah, cornering, that wasn't their strong point. Lots of other strong points, but not cornering. And then, they got better, as everybody does, time goes by. Smooth and Scene. It wasn't a car movie, but at 18, I had an accident and have to drive with hand controls. I happened to see the bit in the movie where the paralysed vet drives out of the modifiers in his Mustang. Oh, cool. Oh, I didn't realise you had to. Good on you, man. Good for coping. Dean Stevens. Here he is. Dino's arrived. Some more Denglish to be going on with. Now, what do we got here? Like 36.5 has arrived. Hold on to your pencils. Indeed. Yes, what nonsense. Well, look, he showed up. Indeed. Barracuda. Dan Gurney raced a 61 Impala bubble top in England and put the Jags, etc., in their place. You could definitely make the old American stuff handle with the right, suspension setup on it. But I guess it depends whether you're talking about like race track results or just off the showroom floor, tall, skinny cross-ply tyres and stuff like that they had back in the early 60s. That was a different car to what Dan Gurney was racing, and to be fair, I guess the Jags would have been too. So, Danny Boy, Dino Reno. There we go. It's a new name. Hang on. I went too far up again. I have to find a better way. For goodness sake. My computer's giving me grief. Why will you not scroll up? Because I'm hitting the wrong part of the keypad, that's why. Well, I'm an idiot. What are you going to do? There we go. Smurfenstein, one of my favourite car scenes, gave me hope I would drive again one day. Very cool. Very cool. Dean Stevenson, Danny Woodster is our cutest co-star here. Okay. Volfly clings to some lasagna. Oh, lasagna for dinner. Very nice. Dean Stevenson also said Barracuda is pretty handsome. There you go. Barracuda, my wife used to smoke. She told me to slow down. Mm-hmm. Frozen lasagna, that is. Still. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, you just need lube. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Yes, I missed that one, but now I get it. Dean Stevenson and Volfly, he's pretty fly for a fly. There you go. Tavo, I saw at least one YouTube video of Peterbrock racing an FX Holden at Goodwood in the older class. Cool. Brock's FX didn't quite match the Jags. They got those Jags percolating pretty well. Yeah, the boys are telling some lies now. Danny Boyd, I get La Rosa's frozen lasagna. It's a local chain. Their pizza isn't that great, but their lasagna sure is. There you go. Todd Jano, the Charger and Crazy Mary. What was that movie? Crazy Mary and Dirty Larry and Crazy Mary and Dirty Larry or something, wasn't it? Can't remember the movie's name. Yeah. It was Dirty Larry and Crazy Mary, or vice versa, Crazy Mary and Dirty, something like that. There was a dirty in there somewhere, but it goes without saying. Oh, Danny Boyd just backed me up on that one. Dirty Mary and Crazy Larry. I just had those transposed. Makes sense. That was a good movie. I remember that from being a young fella when that came out. Jeff Hutchins, don't forget the AMC, AMX and Trans Am. They did very well. They did very well. A little bit smaller, a little bit more nimble. The bigger the car, the harder it is to make it change direction. That's just physics. That's not favoritism. That's not liking one brand or another. That's just physics. The bigger and heavier it is, the harder it is to change direction. And to slow them down too. But the toughest call is getting them to change direction. Todd Denier, the Jeep and Billy Jack. Don't know that one. No, I didn't even see it either. Mr. Boyd. Paul Funk, Cisco, Utah is now in Ghost Town with one small business left. The remains out. The remains something. OT. What's that? Ezra, running on empty 9882, also has an ultimate title, Fastlane Fever. Huh. The Shell station is there. Paul Funk. The remains of the Shell station is there. Okay, I got you now. Danny Boyd, does the landlord own a classic? Yeah, he's got a couple. He's got a 54 Chevy, which I've had on my videos on YouTube, a white 54 Chevy with a 350 in it. And he's also got a 65 Mustang, and he's got a 19... He's a bit of a car collector. Well, I think he's got four. He's got a 1930... Lincoln. I think it's a 1938, something like that. Convertible. Quite a rare car, but it's just a rough old thing. That's the trouble. All his cars are rough. He's extraordinarily tight and doesn't want to spend any money on his classic cars, and he cuts corners all the time and doesn't want to do things properly. Yeah, funny old dude. But So yeah, but yeah, he does like the old cars. He's always kind of interested to see what I've got going on. So Todd Denard, Jeff, those AMX kicked ass and took trophies away from the big names in Trans Am racing. Yeah, they were just a nice, compared to the cars around them, they were just that little bit more compact, and they got the job done pretty darn well. Danny boy, no, he rents the building out to one. Oh, I see how it is. Tava, that would be scary with what you have in that place, Kiwi, month to month lease. Yeah. He just likes to be able to hold that over your head. I don't think I'm going anywhere anytime soon, but he just likes to be able to. It gives him leverage, Well, that's how he sees it. But and I should have moved. I should have moved a long time ago, and now I've left it kind of too long. It's not worth trying to move now. So yeah. Dean Stevenson, Owen Evans sure messed up his 197 mile an hour land speed record 930 Porsche in 1996. I remember that. Never run slicks with no speed rating on a tarmac road in Rotorua. He's lucky to still be alive. He is. That was a huge, huge crash. And a good mate of mine worked for him at the time at his panel. He had a big panel beating shop, Evans European, I think it was called from memory. Hence his love affair with Porsches and stuff like that. But they made some rear wheel opening covers, or spats, we called them in New Zealand, or fender skirts as they're known in the States. And they made like custom ones to completely cover up the back wheel openings of the Porsche for aerodynamics. And apparently, it's according to John, this buddy of mine that worked for him, they say that's his story was that's what cut the tire down. Was this I was going to say homemade, but it was semi-professionally made. It was made in his shop. They made these wheel covers, and at speed, the pressure on it actually, something happened and it moved enough that it cut the tire down, and that's what caused it all. But he went off a narrow 2-lane road. It wasn't even like a big American 2-lane road. It was a narrow 2-lane road with ditches on either side, no runoff areas, and they're trying to do a 200 mile per hour speed run, which was ill advised from the get go. But yeah, he all but lost his hand. Like, if he hadn't had the money and the backing that he had, if he'd just been a regular Joe Schmo, I think that hand would have gone. No, he was pretty messed up. Danny Boy, Levi Garrett, another loose leaf chews, come in a bag pouch where a snuff comes in a can or a tin. Okay, so our off-topic tonight's definitely been tobacco, which I know absolutely nothing about. Danny Boy, driveway of misfits burn. Yeah, like he's hammering on me a bit tonight. That's okay. I got broad shoulders. Snus is pronounced like snooze. Okay. Snooze. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Okay. Barry Cooter, Mum and Dad and I went to Christchurch to look after my grandmother's husband while she was in hospital. We found him dead in his bed. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah. A bit unfortunate for her, nobody to come home to. She was in the hospital and he was the one who ended up dead. It's a cruel twist of irony there. Andy Nicol, there's a guy here in Edmonton, Twin Sticks Garage, that built Smokey and the Bandit movie. Correct, semi, complete with Western motive mural on the trailer. He's working on a Bandit Trans Am. Very cool. Very cool. Well, guys, it's 9 o'clock. Let's just try and rattle down through these comments and see. Chris Freeman, Barracuda, dang, how old are you? That's awkward. Barracuda, R.I.P. Oh dear. John Wilburn, welcome along. Mate, you've arrived here at the death. But hey, better late than never, eh? Thanks for dropping in. Chris Freeman, Barracuda, dang, that legit had to be shocking. Yeah, it would be. Wally was his name. He was Canadian. Well, sounds like he died in his sleep, which is not such a bad thing. Yeah, Jeff Hutchins, a Bandit Trans Am would be cool with double the original power. They weren't actually a powerhouse, were they? Let's be honest. Jeff Hutchins, I tend to get Barracuda's humour. Not sure he says much about. Not sure that says much about me. Maybe it's because I love Cudas. Maybe. Firefly, kickstart my heart is a good start of a day at the shop. Well, yeah. Barracuda, Susan George was the dirty one. Yes, I bet she was. She was pretty cute. Tavo, don't forget Jimmy Richards' AMX Javelin and the Touring Car Masters. Yes, quick car, without a doubt. Very underrated, those Javelins. Very underrated. Well, all the AMCs were really. But those Javelins were, with that big, the four. What did they have them? They come with a 390 and the 40 something. There's a big engine in a compact car. Andy Nicol, all the Beach Boys. Yep. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, I spell in American, the best rendition of English. Barracuda, was she the dirty or the crazy one? No, she was the dirty one. A little crazy, but a little dirty. Volfly, I need to watch the promotional video for the Northrop Flying Wing as a passenger plane again, advertised with couches, a bar, and front viewing windows, basically laid out as a lounge on the inside. Wow. Barracuda, I see Brendan Hartley's brother has manufactured a V12 engine for a new overseas supercar. Yeah, they're building some pretty amazing engines, aren't they? Kiwi only remotely likes one of three of the ATF subjects. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, it's all good. Some of them I'm just lost. Like, I don't know what the heck is going on. So, yeah. Todd and I was surprised to see how many of the top supercars over the last few years were powered by Ford. Ford's making some good horsepower. They got one of the quickest engines in Formula One right now too. Brad Eastman, remember the Goodnight Kiwi? I most certainly do. He could never forget that. Up the big antenna and tucking himself into bed in the dish, the satellite dish, pay or receive, whatever it was. That's a core childhood memory. Jeff Hutchins, aluminum hood trunk, fender truck. You know the correct terms. Aluminum, aluminium, bonnet wing, bonnet boot wing. What are you guys talking about? Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. We did manage to add a whole extra syllable to aluminium, which does confuse a lot of Americans if you use that term. I've had to adopt saying aluminum here because just if you say aluminium, they just look at you and go, "What?" Especially if you're asking for some aluminum tube or aluminum sheet or something like that. If you say aluminium, you'd be like, "No, we don't have that. Sorry." What you gonna do? Anyway, there we are, guys. Todd and I, Chris, thank you. Have a good night. I'll be here until you log out. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, sir. Well, yeah, guys. Dean Stevenson, huge 4.75-inch bore spacings. The engine started off 290, became a 304, 401. It was a 40 something by virtue of having a nice 9175 or 92.0-inch engine deck height, copied by the Cleveland V8. Good engine. All right, yep, that's it, guys. I've got to go get my beauty sleep. I've got an early start and try and be in the shop at 7 in the morning. Try and beat the heat a little. And yeah. So I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did. I learned a whole lot about tobacco that I never knew. Never knew I needed to know, but that's okay too. All right, guys. Well, yeah, thanks again. Thanks for all your input. And I will see you next Tuesday night. Got a nice video on a lovely Mustang convertible, which I'll drop that tomorrow night now. So they bought it on auction, sight unseen. So you better watch that one. All right. See you guys. Take care.